I'm Krystle. I've loved dolls my whole life. I collect everything from porcelain to cloth, American Girl, neonates, and real care dolls. But my favorite is to collect and make Reborn dolls. There's Chloe, Grace, Jeremy, Maya, Yuki, Savannah, Zoe, Haley, Landon, Maisie, and Joshua. It isn't easy keeping up with my collection, but it sure is a lot of fun. Hi guys, I am here to just have a little chat. I had made a video sort of talking about this subject before, but I had to edit some things out of that video, and so the bulk of this topic was eliminated from that video. But anyways, I wanted to come on today mainly to readdress the topic and reconnect with those in the community who have gone through or are going through something similar. Just so we can, in the comments below, we can hopefully connect and provide some support to each other. And I also wanted to share 2 articles that I came across online that address this issue in ways that I have trouble expressing it, and I really connected with these articles. And so the main part of this video is I want to read these articles, but I'm going to try to do a quick little intro before I get into that. So if you have been on my channel for some time, you know that I don't have children, and that is due to the fact that I have lupus and the situation that having lupus has put me in, financially and health-wise, physically. For those who are new to my channel, now you know. Because I have to say, I think, and it's not just me, but I think that all Reborn collectors who have YouTube channels, I'm sure at one time or another, or maybe several times over the years that they've been on YouTube, have received the comment or the question in your comments on, why don't you just have a real kid? Why do you have these dolls? Why don't you just have a real kid instead? And it's got to be one of the most insensitive questions that anyone can ask. And I'm just going to quickly address that question, because for those out there who feel the need to ask that question on any channel, just don't. Keep that to yourself, because for one thing, you do not know what each individual person's situation is and how triggering that kind of a question can be for someone who is going through a really difficult time. And that can just bring on emotional distress. It's an incredibly insensitive question. The second reason is that there are many, many, many Reborn collectors in this community that do in fact have real children of their own, and they still have Reborn dolls because they are a collector. They love to collect dolls of either all kinds, or they love Reborn dolls because of the artistry, plain and simple. But there are many in the community who do in fact have children of their own, real live children of their own, and that the dolls are literally just a hobby for them. And I would say that whether a Reborn doll collector has children or not, I would say that from the people that I have met in the community over the years, and I mean, I don't know every single person in the community personally, but just from the doll shows I've attended and via YouTube and reading comments and visiting Reborn Instagram accounts, Facebook groups, all the different things that I've read from people online and comments that are in this hobby, is that for the majority of the people in this hobby, it is just that. It is a hobby. Even if they don't have real children of their own, the majority of the collectors are not treating their babies like real babies. It is a fun hobby for them. Some enjoy role-playing on occasion. Many I've come to know mostly do role-play for their videos, just to make their videos entertaining, but off camera, they don't really interact with their dolls other than posing them and displaying them. And I'm basically one of those people. My Reborn dolls, my American Girl dolls, all that stuff, I will change them, I will dust them off a little, and then I will put them back in their spot and pose them all cute and walk away. The occasional time that I am feeling a little emotional and need a little pick-me-up, I will cuddle one while watching TV. As for role play, I pretty much will only engage in role play for my videos to make them entertaining. And I would say that is the average collector in this hobby. Some just display only. And there's nothing wrong if you choose to have your Reborn and treat them like a real baby and all that. Or there's nothing wrong if you just want to display them. There's no right way in doing this hobby. So I just want to put that out there, because I sometimes get comments from some collectors who may do, you know, are more hands-on with their Reborns. And they'll make comments about how I do my hobby. And the way that they make the comment almost makes it sound like I'm doing it wrong. It's a hobby, guys. These are not real babies. These are dolls. And there's no right or wrong way to do the hobby. You do whatever makes you happy in this hobby. You don't need to feel like you have to role play all the time with your doll. If that's not your thing, it's not your thing, and that's great. So I just wanted to put that out there for you guys. Now, getting back to the question of why don't you go adopt, or why don't you have a real baby? Again, you don't know people's situations. Some people could be dealing with infertility issues, and even the question about like, well, why don't you just adopt then, is an incredibly insensitive question, because not everyone has the means to adopt. Adoption is really, really expensive. Yes, I know you can foster to adopt, which is less expensive, but you also have to realize that there's a lot of people that just may not be equipped to handle foster to adopt, because yes, there's lots of children out there that need homes, but a lot of the children will have special needs, behavioral issues, and it takes a really special person to be able to manage a child like that. You have to really be strong to be able to work with a child like that and have them gain your trust and things like that. Not everyone is equipped to manage that. So stop the judgment. I'm sick of the judgment of, you know, if people choose not to adopt or foster, there's something wrong with you. There's not. Because you're doing the responsible thing by recognizing that it's not for you. It's just let people be, and just stop bringing up the topic, because it can be very painful. So with that said, I don't have kids, plain and simple, because I mean, it's heartbreaking to me to have to like basically be at this point, but I basically have no choice, and it sucks, and it's something that you continuously mourn, which I'm going to get into with one of these articles. Having lupus, I have been on so many different medications over the years, and I'm still on one right now that you cannot get pregnant while taking this medication. It will cause birth defects, or it will kill the baby. And so I would have to come off this medication to get pregnant, for one. Getting off this medication, I don't know how my body would react to that. I still have bad days where I don't feel well, especially right now, this time of year when the season's changing. My joints have been flaring again. I have felt really great, like through spring and summer. I was doing really well, and I go through these periods where I feel really well and I think I can do everything, and then I push myself too hard, and the next thing you know, I'm like knocked back down again. And my joints have been flaring big time lately with the change in the season. And so for me, it's like, you know, I'm managing pretty well on the cocktail of medications I'm taking right now. So the thought of going off of them scares me to death, because I don't know what else they would give me in place of that, and would it be as effective for me to keep me out of being like in tremendous pain and being able to function somewhat. So there's that factor. And then, you know, my health isn't the greatest, and you know, I work as a nanny, so I get kind of firsthand experience of what it's like being a mom all day, and it's hard on my health. It is hard on my health. I basically only work anywhere from 2 to 3 days a week. Usually I just take part-time nanny jobs, because generally speaking, you know, there's been times where I've tried to do full-time, like 5 days a week nannying, and I just, after about a month or so, I start flaring big time. Sometimes it's only after a few weeks I start flaring. The fatigue is horrible, the pain. So there's that. It's like, okay, I struggle sometimes getting through a work day. So parenting's 24/7. It's 24/7, guys. How do you manage that? And then finally, because of the fact that I can't seem to get into a physical place of well-being enough to be able to take on a full-time job, our finances just won't allow for us to have a child. Now, with that said, at least once a year, sometimes twice a year, I go into a big depression over this. And I get into this place where I start like thinking, well, maybe we could do this and maybe we could do that and make it work somehow, like that I could have a baby. You know, like I used to say I wouldn't want to have a baby in a basement apartment, but rent prices elsewhere right now, everywhere has skyrocketed. There's absolutely no way we could afford it unless I was working full time. And then, you know, even if we could afford it, there'd be nothing left over for the to pay for the baby stuff. So, and then housing is like insane now. Like to buy a house, it's absolutely ludicrous. The costs keep going up. I actually worry for our future generation. I really do, because I don't know how the kids now like are, you know, in 20 years or so, how are they going to afford housing if it keeps going this way? And that's another thing that comes into my mind a lot too, in terms of having a kid, is that as much as I want to be a mom with everything in my being, the state of our world right now is so messed up. There is so much crap going on in this world that I just see every day. It breaks my heart and it makes me sick, and I worry for our future generations. And I think to myself, like, do I really want to bring a child into this crap world we live in right now? Because I feel like our world is headed to shit. Sorry for the language. Like, I feel like every day there's something else that's going on in this world, and I just feel like we are headed down a dark, slippery slope. And I'm sorry if that sounds gloom and doom, but this is how I feel about our world. I really am worried for our future generations. I just don't know what the future holds for our children today. I do worry about it, and global warming is becoming more apparent every year. This summer was like the hottest summer. It just seems each summer gets hotter and hotter. And I read an article that by, I don't know, it's like way in the future. I probably won't even be alive at that point. But at some point in the far future, it's going to get to the point where it's going to feel like in the 50s, like 50 Celsius in the summers. And people are like not going to be able to leave their house, like, because you will die, like, if you go out in that. And I'm just like, what the heck, man? Like, this world is messed up. It's so messed up. And I don't see it getting any better. That's the part that, like, I don't see. They'll make little changes here and there, you know, like you've got the recycling and you've got the green bins with the food scraps, and like they have things that they're trying to do to help the environment, but I don't see enough that's going to make an impact. And I don't really know what we can do to make an impact, but something has to be done, because I really do honestly, like, any of the kids that I work for, that I've worked as a nanny for, like looking after, I seriously always think about them and their future, and I just wonder what's in store for them. But anyways, there's just so many things to think about when you have a chronic illness in trying to decide to have a child. And I'm going to just go ahead now and read the articles, because there's 2 articles by the same lady, and both of them pretty much express everything that I've just been trying to say. So let me read them to you real quick. Okay, so this is from themighty.com. I'll link the articles in the description below for you guys. So if you want to go and reread them, you can do that. This first article she wrote is called "The Pain of Realizing I'm Not Healthy Enough to Have Kids." I have had depression and anxiety since I was a child. At 19 years of age, when I was a sophomore in college, I got fibromyalgia, with which I was diagnosed at age 24. In my 20s, I started having serious stomach pain issues as well. Those went undiagnosed for several years until I was finally tested for gastroparesis, which is what causes my digestive system not to work properly. All of these issues get better and worse. And now in my late 30s, I am now in my late 30s, and I am in a lot of pain most of the time from one thing or another, or all of them combined. How the pain will be on a particular day is completely unpredictable. So whenever I make a plan, even to go see a doctor, I cannot be sure I will be able to keep it. It is often difficult to get dressed or even to get out of the house, and I am unable to do that at all, at least a day or 2 per week. I have been unable to work for several years now. Now, she's in an even worse situation than me. She can't work at all. I at least can manage part-time. I try to cope by focusing on good things in my life, and there are plenty of them. I have a warm, loving, compassionate husband who is intelligent and thoughtful and makes me laugh. We have a nice apartment in a good neighborhood. I have amazing friendships. I finally have a good relationship with my mother, and she is now one of my best friends. Although we sometimes struggle to pay the bills on just my husband's income, we have a lot of nice things. I have a large stash of beautiful yarn to feed my knitting and crocheting hobbies. I have beads and other supplies so that I can make jewelry. I have adult coloring books and colored pencils in an array of gorgeous colors. I have comfortable clothing and especially nice pajamas, which is very important when it hurts to wear street clothes all day. I practically live in pajamas, guys, so I totally understand what she's saying. We are almost never lacking for good food. However, there is something more painful than all of my health issues combined. My husband and I will likely never be parents. I have always wanted children. I love kids. Babies completely fascinate me. I think my husband would make a truly wonderful father, and sometimes I even think I would make a good mother, if not for the fact that I struggle even to take good care of myself, and therefore could never take adequate care of a little one. And that really touches on it when like people say to me, well, why don't you just adopt then if it's not safe for you to like give birth naturally? Again, it's like, how capable am I of being the kind of mother that I want to be 24/7, you know, when I'm not well? That is the exceptionally painful truth. That is what I live with. That truly breaks my heart more than never having a career or the feeling of isolation that comes along with my days at home. I usually try to deal with it by not dealing with it, by just trying not to think about it. And that rings true with me. I usually just try to focus on the good things in my life and I try not to think about it. But there are times, and I'll talk about this a little bit later, there are times that it hits me. Mourning the loss of something so precious that we can never have is not something I can handle at the moment, even with the help of a great therapist. I visited a friend and her husband and their new baby yesterday. I wouldn't have missed it for the world. They are wonderful people and clearly very good parents. Their baby is a beautiful creature, full of life and enthusiasm. She smiles a lot. I got to hold her in my lap and read to her, and I don't think I could possibly enjoy anything more than that. But when I got home, I sobbed uncontrollably for hours. I want a child of our own more than I have ever wanted anything in my entire life, and it is just not meant to be. I can handle most of my own suffering and pain when I do not have to take care of anyone but myself, and occasionally my husband if he gets sick. However, when I cannot count on myself to be well enough to get dressed a significant amount of the time, I certainly cannot count on myself to do all the things necessary to take care of the basic needs of a child. For the most part, I have received two very different types of reactions from very well-meaning people when I explain this to them. The first is, you shouldn't wait until you have enough money, until you're well enough, until insert scenario here, to have children, because it will never happen then. I've had that comment before and I absolutely hate it. I hate it because, okay, anyways. And oh, she explains why she hates it, because this is the same reason I hate it. This is dangerous for me because it sends me into denial. I try very hard to convince myself that I can be a mother and that I should be a mother and that we should have kids now. It winds up hurting all the more when I finally come to my senses, because I can't do something simple like washing the dishes because my neck and shoulders hurt too much and the pain is radiating down into my arms. The second type is, you're doing the responsible thing. Yes, we're doing the responsible thing, but for some reason it hurts greatly to be told as much. We know we're doing what's best for a life that could potentially exist and doesn't, and more than likely won't. But so many people don't do the responsible thing. They go ahead and have kids despite the ability to truly take care of them, whether it's for financial reasons or emotional reasons or other reasons entirely. And yet, to my knowledge, no one praises them for doing the responsible thing if they choose not to have children. At least no one with an ounce of sensitivity. I'm aware that being told we're being responsible is not quite the same as being told that under no circumstances should people like us reproduce. Unfortunately, that is the way it feels to hear it. The only good response when I tell you about our situation is empathy. Tell me you're sorry. We are going through this. Agree with me that it sucks, while understanding that I am not at all trying to downplay how difficult your life may be or whatever struggles you are having. Accepting our childlessness is by far the most difficult thing I've ever had to face, but it is something I know I must do. Typing this out may be the first step along the path to acceptance, and even if I am never able to take another one, at least I will have done something. To those who may be in a similar predicament, please know that you are not alone, and I hope you will be encouraged to tell your story as I have told mine. So that's the first article. And there's 51 comments on this article of other people sharing similar stories. And so that's why I want to link to the article for you guys, just so that you can go ahead and read that and read through the comments on it, because if you're going through the similar situation, it's very comforting to read through and realize that you're not alone in this. Okay, I'm going to read the second article as fast as I can because I know this video is getting long. Hopefully my battery won't die. Here we go. Cycling through the grief of not being healthy enough to have kids. And this article hit me, I would say, even harder than the first one, because this is what I go through. I cycle through the grief of not being healthy enough to have kids. And this is written by the same writer. So it says, it has been almost 2 years since I wrote an article for The Mighty about not being able to have kids. That was the one I previously read to you. Due to chronic health issues. I wish I could say things have gotten easier. I thought they had for a while, but the truth was that I just hadn't been exposed to a similar situation since then. Well, last week, a very dear friend of mine gave birth to a baby girl. I was so excited and so happy for her and her partner, and I asked if I could come visit them in the hospital, and they said that they would be glad to have a visitor. I went to the store and bought some Pampers, baby wipes, and a onesie that said Girl Power. I bought a card and a gift bag. I looked through all the baby clothes and was blown away at how expensive they were, even at a discount store. The price of the diapers blew me away too. I went over to the hospital. I saw my friend and her guy and their sweet newborn baby. I saw the baby enjoy sleeping and eating and falling asleep while eating. The baby really didn't do much. Newborns rarely do, in my limited experience. The baby was beautiful, and I was so happy for her young, healthy parents. I spent the next day and a half. Here's where I go a lot. I spent the next day and a half convincing myself that my husband and I could and should have a baby of our own. I'm in pain. I'll deal with it. Sleep deprivation? I'll deal with it. No, neither of these things are realistic. Pooping and spitting up and all that stuff, I'll deal. Pregnancy requiring me to go off nearly all my meds, scary, but I'm willing to try. No money? Lots of couples have kids on limited budgets. Never mind that we can't make ends meet right now, and it's just the two of us, no space in our apartment. Baby can sleep in our bedroom at least a little while, at least while they're little. I was desperate. I was ready to sacrifice everything. I am almost 40 and can practically hear that biological clock pounding down its countdown in my ears. I have always wanted kids. I love babies in particular. I find them totally fascinating. I have seen my nieces and nephew at all ages and stages, though the oldest is almost 15 now, and there have been amazing things about them all. I have so much love in my heart, and I just want a child to give it to. I give a lot of love to my husband, but there's plenty left over and I don't have a place to put it. I have lost so many of my dreams to chronic health issues, grad school, and a career, and the first to come to mind. Let me just repeat that sentence. So grad school and a career are the first to come to mind, but they are far from the only ones. There are so many things I've had to give up since fibromyalgia struck me at age 18, and so many things I will probably never do or have. I do not want it to rob me of this one too. My husband and I sat down and talked on Sunday. He tried to give me a reality check and it didn't work. I was in denial. Then he dropped a bomb on me. He told me that he could not handle having a child. He has several health issues and a tremendously stressful job. He picks up a lot of slack for me since I can't do certain household chores. He doesn't give me grief about it, but if he had to make diaper runs too, it would just be too much. I spent the rest of Sunday and all day Monday crying. The only thing that stopped me from crying away the day on Tuesday was having to take medication for a headache, which dulled the emotional pain as well. So much so that I had a therapy session and talked about this and didn't cry and even felt oddly detached. Today, I am putting one foot in front of the other. I've put dinner in the slow cooker, watched the ANTM finale, done some knitting, put away some laundry. My heart still aches like crazy though. I want to end the cycle of grief I seem to go through every time I spend time with a baby. I am thinking about doing some volunteer work with kids, not babies though, that would hurt too much and defeat the purpose. If we are ever able to move to a bigger place, we might consider becoming foster parents. I suppose my point in writing this is to let anyone else in the same boat know that they are not alone. Maybe we can work through our grief together. There must be some way to get through this without feeling a deep sense of regret for the rest of our lives. I haven't found it yet, but I will keep searching and trying new ways of dealing with it. In the meantime, I am determined to continue visiting my friend and her baby when I can. I may hurt afterward, but I don't want to regret not spending more time with them, provided they want me to be there. So, and again, there's about 9 comments on this of other people sharing their experience. So, like I said, I'll link to these articles in the description of this video if you want to go and read them and read through the comments on them. If you are looking for some comfort in that you're not alone, go check it out. And I don't want to make this video much longer. There is some other stuff I want to touch upon with this topic. So I think I am going to do a second video talking more about it. But yeah, guys, those articles really resonated with me because these are the feelings that I go through. I go through it about once or twice a year, I find, and I find the time of year that it seems to really hit me is around August, and I wasn't sure why that was, but I think I figured it out this year, and I think it has to do with you know, seeing all the kids getting ready for back to school, and you know, parents taking like the first day of school pictures, just knowing that I'll never have that moment. And then everything that comes after, like once school starts back in September, you've got Halloween, you've got Thanksgiving, you have Christmas, and all these holidays that I would, you know, I always looked forward to celebrating with my future child. And just knowing that I'm never going to get to experience, I'm not going to get a chance to experience going trick-or-treating with a child or seeing their expressions on Christmas morning when they open their presents. I'm never going to see that. I'm never going to experience that. You know, Easter, I'm not going to be able to do an Easter egg hunt for my child. Like, I don't know. And then of course, like in the summer, I think about all the places that my mom and I used to go to, like Center Island and the zoo and the CNE, and just knowing that again, I'll never be able to experience that with a child. Although I have to say I'm really grateful that with my very first nanny job, the little guy I was looking after got to be an age where I actually was able to take him to Center Island one summer when it was summer vacation. So I'm so grateful I actually did get a chance to take a child to Center Island. And I've taken some of the kids I've looked after to the Science Center, which was so much fun. But there's so much more that I wanted to experience. And I think also the other reason around this time of year it hits me as well is because my birthday is approaching. My birthday is December 10th, and I'm going to be 39 this year. And I'm just like feeling that biological clock ticking like each year that my birthday is approaching. So I've been struggling with it for the past few weeks. I had a rough few days just after Jay's baby brother was born. I was so excited for them. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't want anyone to ever think that I'm not happy for the people in my life who have been able to have kids of their own. And same as, the families that I look after, like when they have a second baby, like I'm so excited for them and happy for them, but I'm at the same time sad for me. And that is okay. I have every right to be sad as well. So as excited as I was, like when I got that message from Jay's mom that the new baby was born, I was so excited. But at the same time, I was like so excited and I couldn't wait to see him. And then I met him and I was like, oh, he's so cute. And then I got home that night and all the feelings hit me. Like it just, again, was a reminder of what I don't have and probably won't have. And so I did some crying that night. And then usually when this hits me is when I go and I Google not being able to have kids due to chronic illness or whatever. And that's when I found these two articles that really resonated with me. And I read them and I bawled reading them. And then also the same week that Jay's brother was born, a lot of people, not like specifically close people to me. I mean, I had a friend who had a baby this year, it's been hard seeing her posting the pictures like of her son. And for some reason, my mom wants to keep like shoving the pictures of I don't even know if I can call her my friend anyway, because like we haven't seen each other in years. And she doesn't really talk to me anymore, but we're Facebook friends. But like it hurts to see, the pictures that she posts of her son. Like I'm happy for her. I'm happy for her, but it just hurts to look. And my mom's always like, oh, did you see this picture or that picture? And it's just like, can you just like stop showing me? Because first off, we're not really friends, so I'm not really that involved in her life, so it's something that I don't really care about that much. Anyways, off topic. But the same week that Jay's baby brother was born, there was quite a few in the weeks before and in the weeks after. There was quite a few pregnancy announcements in forums I'm in, and just with people that I know, and like even that weekend, like literally the day after I met the baby for the first time, there was some pregnancy announcements that came about, and it was just like a triple whammy, or I don't even know, like it was just like they were coming at me from all angles, and I basically had like a mental breakdown, and I actually like didn't even go to work on Monday because I just needed to take a mental health day because I just couldn't stop crying. So I go through. So basically the thing is that this is something that I go through. Like it says, it's a cycle of grief. And it's just crazy to grieve something you've never had, but it's a cycle of grief that I go through at least once, if not twice a year. And I think I also go through cycles of grief in terms of just my health in general, because I think about the person I used to be before I got sick, and I mourn that person. So I just there's two different things I'm grieving, and you just go through the cycles, and it's just, it's frustrating. But anyways, this has been a long video, so if you've made it this far, I thank you. If you are in a similar situation, because it's just, I think a lot of people seem to think that I have fertility issues, and that's not it. It's like literally just being forced into making the choice to not have kids when you really want to have them, but you just can't, like, there's so many factors that are against it, so if you are in the same situation, can you please comment below, share your experience with it, share what has helped you, I guess, get through it or accept it. Because I think my main thing is I need to figure out how to accept it so I don't keep going through the grief. Like, I don't know if that's even possible to do, but if you've been able to do that and work through the grief to where you've accepted it and you can still find joy and other things in your life, can you please share your experience? Because I'm at a loss as to how to continue to deal with this. I know there's going to come a point where age will really come into play, that it's like, okay, like you're at this age now that's it, like you can't have kids anymore, like the choice is not even on the table anymore. So just let me know your thoughts and your feelings. Do you find your reborns help in situations like this as well? I would like to know. So just share in the comments, let's have a discussion. And thanks so much for listening. I just thought I'd show Joshua for this interview, I don't know why I'm saying interview, for this article reading and discussion. I just didn't feel like showing myself on camera right now because I just was afraid I'd get all emotional and stuff. But Mr. Joshua here is so cute. So thanks for watching, guys, and stay tuned because there is another thing that I want to touch upon that's an extension of this topic, and that'll be in another video. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.